Welcome to Podcast with Nanz. On today's episode, we'll be chatting to Swetha. Hi, Swetha.
Hi, Lolo.
How are you?
Oh, well, thank you. And yourself?
I'm very good, thank you. Welcome to my podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, that's awesome. Tell me, who is Swetha?
Swetha is a very introverted, shy, and very reserved person. I will speak to you only if I'm comfortable with you. But once you really get to know who I am, I'm very goofy and very ditzy.
What are Swetha's hobbies?
My hobbies include baking, going to the movies, shopping, doing makeup, and dancing, of course, yeah.
What do you do, Swetha, as a profession, or are you studying? What do you do?
Currently, I'm doing my advanced diploma in dermal aesthetics.
What is dermal aesthetics?
So, dermal aesthetics is currently my second qualification. So, I graduated with my diploma in somatology.
What is somatology?
Somatology is basically the scientific study of the body with regards to health, wellness, and skincare. And it also requires you to understand and to apply your knowledge of the human body. So like any underlying conditions we have definitely show up on our skin.
Yeah.
And as we know, our skin represents us for the rest of our lives. So
Correct.
whatever presents on our skin is a good indication of what's actually happening inside of our bodies. And so dermal aesthetics is just a step further. So we look at skin conditions, so like scarring and wound healing, for example, and we when we look at different types of scars, for example, we need to understand the wound healing process.
Okay.
And with the wound healing process, we know there's 3 phases. Now, with different types of scarring, like for example, if a scar is a keloid scar, there's something that went wrong in the wound healing process, and that's what causes abnormal scarring.
Sure.
So we even look at things like the aging skin, pigmentation disorders, acne and rosacea. So it's just a step further, and we actually have to know like how these conditions are caused, what are the contributing factors, if someone is genetically prone to it. Also, like in treatments as well, we need to know how to, apply our knowledge and apply what products we have to use to enhance the treatment and the efficacy of the treatment.
Wow, that's very interesting, and you seem to have a very keen interest in what you've studied. Why is that? Why did you study somatology, or why did you choose somatology?
I myself battled with my skin, and I know
Sorry.
I have a condition called eczema, which I was born with, and so it really, really affected my self-esteem. Like any other skin disorder, it made me super insecure.
What does eczema look like on the skin? I mean, what is it?
On my skin, it appears as a rash, and after a while, it turns to like a very red purple color.
Is that painful?
It is very painful. I used to have it a lot as like when I was like maybe 8, 9 years old. It was at its worst.
Yeah.
I would get it like in my joints, the back of my knees, around my mouth, especially around my mouth. It was very painful. It would like stretch my skin, and I could not speak properly. I couldn't eat or drink anything.
Yeah, I could not articulate. Yeah.
couldn't speak.
I remember also you used to have it around your earlobes, and you used to cut your ear open, growing up.
Yeah.
So how did that lead to you getting into somatology?
So I wanted to help people who felt the way I did. And the fact that I'm able to kind of give back in that sense,
Yeah.
for me is rewarding and fulfilling.
Yeah.
So I can empathize with people, and I understand where they're coming from when they say, I'm super insecure of this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really enjoy what I do.
That's really awesome. So how did you get into dancing? Because I mean, this has had nothing to do with dancing, it's very worlds apart actually. So how did you get into dancing?
Well,
What's your earliest memory, should I ask?
I was probably like maybe 3, 4 years old.
Yeah.
And I think you were still doing lessons as well with Kathak. And you used to practice for hours and hours of dancing in the garage. And I know, sometimes you used to babysit me, so you used to take me in the garage with you. And I used to play with my dolls and stuff. But just because I was focused on playing with my toys, I used to actually really observe you, and I used to think, wow, you are so gorgeous when you dance.
Oh,
You're
thank you.
very, very graceful. And I'm like, I want to be like her. But I never really knew how to like start dancing, if I
Yeah.
could say so. So eventually,
Why didn't you just ask? Why didn't you just...
I was just very shy to ask, and if I took an interest in it, I was scared that you guys would laugh at me or something.
Oh, okay.
So I just like observe for hours at a time,
Absorbing.
absorbing everything. And then I would watch a lot of Bollywood films, and I figured, okay, maybe this could be a way to kind of learn how to dance. And I
Yeah.
would learn the choreographies from there. So once I learned the choreographies, then I showed you guys. And then mom and dad almost fell down the stairs because they were like, wow, this is a child I did not expect this from.
Yeah, this is a child that sat in
Yeah.
a corner, um, who did not speak to anybody, hardly spoke to anybody, and
Yes.
now suddenly is dancing.
Yeah, and I enjoyed more visual art as opposed to performing arts as a
Visual
child.
art in what sense?
So, like in school, because I was really terrible at sports, and I'm just not made for it. I used to do things like arts and crafts, and I used to really enjoy like drawing and painting and making things. So that's what I really used to do, and up until today, I still enjoy doing visual arts.
And today, how do you practice visual arts?
I do makeup.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, the reason why I look the way I do on set from week to week is because of you and your artistry. And I'm very thankful for that. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, so visual arts in the sense of makeup, I like that. So let's go back to dancing. So, being this completely introverted child, not, able to say much to anybody, and then going to perform at the Sea of Many Rivers. How did that happen? What was that transition like for you?
Well, I like I said, I joined your school,
Yes.
and which you opened up, I think, in 2016. So I was still in high school.
Mm-hmm.
But you did approach me with the idea, and before 2019, like you were talking about it for 3 years before, and you're like, I really want to have the show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, go for it, you know? And then you approached me and you were like, actually want you to dance for the show. And I was like, us on this, in your show, on the same
Same stage, yeah.
So I was really honored that I got to dance with you on the same stage. So thank you for that opportunity. But I think the Sea of Many Rivers, I think that was where I had my most growth as a dancer.
I think so.
I learned how to function under pressure, how to time manage actually, because I was a first year student.
Yes.
And that the day we had the dress rehearsal was one of my final papers. I think it was one of my business papers that I had to write. And so I had to juggle practice and studying for that exam simultaneously. So I learned how to do that, and then I also learned how to avoid you on the set on the day of the show.
Why? What was I like?
You turned into a dragon that was blowing fire at everyone.
I'm not that bad.
Every time I
Could
saw
not
you,
have been that bad.
No. You should have seen yourself. I should have taken a video, actually.
Yeah.
Every time I saw you, it was like one swift motion. I would make a U-turn and go to Catherine or Lata because they were calm.
Yeah, no, it is a stressful time, and it teaches you a lot of life lessons in the process. And yeah, I'm very glad that you were part of that show. Why did you start dancing? Let's go back there. I know we're jumping around a little bit, but why did you start dancing?
So for me, like you say, dance was an art form that you just fell in love with and you decided to pursue. For me, it was something that I used as a coping mechanism.
For what?
I was bullied a lot in school.
Yeah.
So from the time I was like 8 years old, I'd get bullied because my eczema was so bad. Like I was so scared to go to school because the kids would laugh at me. And I didn't have many friends because they thought I was contagious.
Aw.
So they would just like ditch me or they would run away. So a lot of the times I spent like my break alone, and sometimes I'd go to the school hall and I would watch either the choir practice, and there was even a dance group in my school. So I used to watch them as well.
Oh, wow.
Or I would gobble up my lunch and go sit in the library. Just one of those things. So I was bullied quite badly. And grade 3 came and my eczema was super bad. Like it was
At its worst.
It was at its worst. I think I must have skipped at least 2 months of school.
How old are you then? Like maybe 9, 10 years old?
8 or 9. Yeah.
Okay, that's very young still.
Yeah. So there were bullies in my class as well, but they never understood what was going on with me until one day, like my eczema was quite thick and it was
Patchy.
in my joints. Yeah, it was very thick and it's pussy and disgusting. And I did not know what to do, but I started scratching it and it started bleeding a lot. So I went to my teacher and I'm like, ma'am, I'm bleeding. And then my entire class saw how painful this was because I started crying. I'm 9 years old. I did not know what to do.
Yeah, you're
So-
a baby still.
So eventually I explained to them like what's going on with my body. And they stopped. They laid off the bullying for a
Yeah.
little bit. And they would actually go and tell other kids like, okay, she's got eczema. Don't make fun of her. But then
Oh,
eventually...
that's really nice, though.
They were.
At least you got some sort of support eventually.
Yeah, no. Then they were calling me things like ugly and then eczema face.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, kids that age are nasty, though.
They are. But I think then I got to grade 6. Now it left, the eczema had subsided a little bit.
Okay.
So it left its scars on me, like around my mouth and my joint area. And you now start developing crushes and those type of things in school.
Yeah, almost teenagehood.
Yes. So this guy was my first crush. I would get so nervous that I could not even, like, every time he was around me, I would just like freeze. And my friends would be like, Swetha, wake up, Swetha, and like, But one day I was rushing to class and I didn't even care that he was there. So I was on a mission to get to class because I was going to get a demerit if I was late.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, they were very, very finicky with that.
Strict.
And as I walked past him, he was like, this girl is ugly. Like, so ugly.
What?
And I heard it, and then I turned back, and then his group of friends were laughing at me. So that was quite a very humbling experience, if I
Wow.
could say so.
That's crazy. How did that make you feel, Swetha? Because you're this now, what, 10, 11-year-old?
12.
Oh, 12, yeah. What does that do to a kid at that stage?
Well, I mean, I was already like broken from like the bullying from the past year. So
Yeah.
this just, I was completely shattered. But I think, I mean, it's now 10 years later and I barely remember what he looks like.
Yeah, well,
But that was, I think, one of the few things that really crushed my self-esteem to like the bottom.
was there anything else that people had said to you that brought you down growing up?
Well, I would always get compared to you and our brother because they would be like, why are your siblings so good looking and you're so ugly?
That's a very nasty thing to say, but anyway.
Honestly, when that girl said that, I was more taken back than offended.
Okay.
I was like, it's the audacity for me. But, another thing that they really picked on was my skin color.
Yeah,
And
what was wrong with your skin color?
I'm too dark.
Too dark? For whom?
A lot of people, apparently. To some people, I'm probably the same color as my hair at this point.
That's ridiculous.
I know,
What
but
does skin color have to do with anything?
I don't know. But I was made to believe I was also ugly because I'm dark-skinned.
Oh, that's very sad. What does that do to a little girl, man? Like now you've got eczema, so now your eczema face. You're told you're ugly. You're told you're dark. You're darker than your siblings. What does this do to this little girl?
Honestly, I think that 8-year-old or 9-year-old little girl, like instead of, loving her and nurturing her and growing her up and maturing, I think I just hated her. I just loathed her. Like I didn't want to be here anymore. Like it was so bad. So it was really heartbreaking for me to go through something like that.
And I mean, it's not like, being your sister, I mean, it's not like we weren't there for you. I mean, there's only so much you can be there for somebody who's going through something like this, right? I mean, there's the support structures are there, but at the end of the day, it's up to each child or each individual to then pick themselves up. But I mean, you having all of that support still struggled. So can we imagine like how other kids who really don't have that, how do they cope with that? It must be so difficult. And yeah, I can only imagine. I'm so sorry you'd gone through that.
I didn't tell anyone, so there's nothing to be
and
sorry
I
about.
think I wish as a sister I could have done anything, like something more, but
No.
unfortunately I couldn't have it either,
No, I never told anyone because I'm just like, this is gonna make me look weak, and so I just come home from school and cry in the shower. Like that's the best place to cry.
For me, it's to sing, for you, it's to cry. Okay.
Oh no! I mean, then I could just like blame it on my allergies or say the soap got into my eyes.
The one eye, yeah.
If mom asked why my eyes were red.
Yeah. So you started dancing to cope with all of this internal
Yes.
struggles. How did that help you?
When I danced, I know I may have felt like a clown and looked like a clown when I was dancing. I mean, I think we all start somewhere.
So you looked like a clown. You definitely didn't feel like a clown because you would never danced.
That's also true. No, I think for me when I danced, it was euphoric. Like it was just me and just me only, and no one's watching you, and like you forget everything that's happening around you, and it like puts you on a high.
Yeah.
And when you're done dancing, you just feel so much lighter and looser. And I'm like, okay, well, I like the way I feel, so I'm going to continue with this. And so over time, I grew to love it.
Awesome.
So, and that's led to everything up until now.
So what was that experience when you got to lead for those dances at the CF Many Rivers? What was that experience like for you?
It was daunting because people were going to be looking at me because I'm wearing a different outfit to everyone else.
Yeah.
But I had a really good support system. Like those dancers were amazing.
Yes. 100%.
And we got so close, and they're so lovable. We got close in such a in such a short span of time, short period of time. And it was a learning experience, definitely. I think I just embraced that moment and I just danced. I didn't care what anyone thought. It was the best I could have done.
Yeah.
And now that I look back at my performances, I'm just like, ew, it looks so cringe. I don't want to look at it again. I'm so stiff. But I think that was the best I could have done.
Yes, at that point in time. Yeah, definitely. Do you love the person that you see now when you see yourself dancing on stage and, really rocking it? Because so many people walked up to me and they said to me, Nandini, you dance really beautiful, but Swetha tonight. Like everybody had said to me, like, and I was just like, before I even said thank you for telling me that I'm a good dancer, they were like, oh, but Swetha. And I was like, oh, wow, but really you did a really, really good job. And
thank you so much.
You could really see that you were connecting with who you were. And I was very proud of you, for having done that and gone that far. How do you think we can make that show better?
Honestly, I think the backstage could be a little bit better, especially when it came to the kids, because I was already dressed for my performance and the kids were just like everywhere.
Yeah.
But I think the time management behind the stage could have been a bit better, but I think also we could bring on more genres and more other forms of performing arts, like, singing, monologues and those type of things as well.
Yeah, more acting and maybe singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think so. And Thelma mentioned in the last interview, that we should all the genres should come together for a finale, and I'm really, I really want that. I want that quite badly. So, yeah, so I'm working on something, but let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
What message do you have for those people out there? For those kids who suffer with similar issues and who have gone through similar things as you have?
I would say don't be scared and actually just go and do what you love to do. Don't try and fit yourself into a mold that was created by other people. We're all different. We're all unique.
Yeah.
And I think that you should embrace that. People generally, they tend to pass on their opinions or say nasty things because they see something in you that they don't see in themselves.
Or something they dislike about themselves
Yes.
as well. So it's not necessarily a reflection on you, but more of themselves.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so I think just continue doing what you love and be true to who you are. I think that's the best advice I could give. And it does get better. It really does get better.
Yeah. People also get better.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining me on my podcast today,
Pleasure.
Swetha. It was lovely having you. And yeah, we'll chat next time. Thank you for joining me on today's podcast with Nanz. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment box below, as well as follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, as well as Spotify. I'll see you guys next time.